Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the MC Variety Hour Shenanigans in August with Crawford, because Miles is off on business. She's very important. Today's guest host is my friend Shawn, not his real name. He has bravely decided to step into the tiny shoes of Miles and venture through this hour, or less, or more, I'm not sure. It just depends on how long our conversation goes. So yeah, Shawn, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, or do you want to be a mysterious stranger?
I kind of like being a little mysterious. My name's Shawn. I'm a local to the area. I work in food service.
He lives in Findlay, where Miles lives, everybody. So we rant about Findlay a lot. So if you want to bitch about Findlay, that's fine. But go ahead. He's a server and a bartender.
And I'm also a veteran.
Yes. You are a veteran. Thank you. You see, now we have a veteran on the show, so we can complain, and you can be like, and he's a veteran, so it's okay.
Absolutely. I do have a few things to say about the issue, but when people thank me for my service, it makes me a little uncomfortable because I was a cook in the Navy and really just made the Marines a box lunch.
But you kept those Marines fed. You did your part.
I kept them well fed and serviced.
That's why you were in the Navy. I have to be really careful where I work, because people will be like, I was in the Navy, and I was like, were you in the Navy? And then I had to be like, whoa, I live in a town of 7,000. 75% of us voted for Trump.
Right.
I might get drug out and beat up for making a gay joke, because at my work, people still call gay people fairies, Nancy's. And there's another one, but I can't think of it or whatever, but he calls it Nancy boys.
I think I've been called a lot of things, but never a Nancy. I would probably just laugh.
I've got one guy who'd be like, you know him, he's a Nancy boy, and he does a little flip with his hand. He's a Nancy boy. And I'm like, well, first I was like, what's a Nancy boy? And I had to think about it for a second.
I don't know. It makes me think of Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys.
Thank you so much. I am a great detective. So today we're going to talk about Space Force.
Space Force.
We both joined a group that also likes to poke fun at the Space Force. And we're really excited to get into a recruitment center. What do you think of the new logo choices? I'm so glad that that's the first issue that we're talking about is Space Force. Like, okay, we're going to have a Space Force, but we need a logo.
I like that they're all penis related.
Yeah, they are. Look at our big dick.
Especially the one for the Uranus expedition.
I just saw that today, and I loved it. The Uranus Explorer, and it is literally looks like a dick.
Yes, and Uranus expedition is a cargo mission, so we will be dropping a very big load.
Of fudge. What did I read? I have to apologize because my dog, he's very tiny, but he is full of a lot of heart.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, he's one of those. And he keeps barking at noises that are not there. He's a vicious little thing. Not really. He's a sweet boy. I was going to talk about the military parade, which was budgeted at, $45 million, and now it's over $90 million?
I don't know. It kept going up and up. I think the mayor of D.C.'s pushed back on the numbers a little bit. Like, it's not as much as the Trump administration is saying it was projected to cost, but still, I'm glad it's at least postponed. There's a lot of better things that we could be doing with that money, and I don't think we really deserve a military parade right now. I think our veterans and our active duty deserve respect. They deserve to be taken care of, but I don't know if you've heard, but we're losing in Afghanistan right now.
Yeah.
The Taliban has taken pretty much a whole entire northern province. It's a quagmire, just like we all knew it has been for years. I don't think we need a military parade to stroke people's egos right now.
Well, you know what? It just reminds me of North Korea, because they're always having military parades, and I find it discerning that Trump admires leaders like North Korea and Russia and China. You know what I mean? He's like, those countries are so great. I love them. They are the best. I can't do a great Trump impersonation. I wish I could, though.
Me neither.
Oh, that's a shame. It's fine. So, as a vet, tell us how you feel about the VA. And over the since you've been out of the service, how the VA has treated you and how you feel about it today.
Actually, the care that I receive is top notch. They're very into preventive care and making sure you don't get sick. That way they don't have to treat an illness.
But how far do you have to drive to go to the VA?
I go to Toledo, which is about 45 minutes, pending there's no construction, which right now is...
It's Ohio in the summer.
Right. But I have a young female doctor. She's awesome. Like I said, I receive great care. When there's something wrong with me, they figure it out and they treat it. The only thing is the drive is a little far. But also, when I was in the Navy, the deal was the VA will take care of you, forever at no cost to you. And that's not the same anymore. A lot of veterans... if you make a little bit above the poverty line, they're charging you copays and premiums and stuff like that. So it kind of works like
regular insurance.
Kind of, yeah. It's similar to that now. And that's not fair. Like, we had a fucking deal, people.
Right. Like, I said I would give my life for this country. Now, I know I cooked, but I signed up full aware, like, I might get shot. It doesn't matter what you did in the military. It's the fact that you actually sign up and make that commitment.
Exactly. I still did the boot camp. Right. I still had to every quarter do it.
It's not like you signed up like, I'll cook. But I ain't going into war, okay? You ain't putting me in. I'll cook. Right. I will organize your closets.
Instead of a gun, they put a spatula in my hand.
They knew where your best talents were.
Exactly.
This is not a combat. This is somebody who will keep us fed.
So that makes me really, really angry. And then you see people, anytime the government spends money on something that they don't care for, they're going to put up a shitty meme with some dirty homeless guy laying next to a curb with bugs crawling all up in his beard.
And we don't even know if he's really a vet.
Exactly. We don't even know that he's really a vet. He's just a schizophrenic, self-medicated alcoholic.
Right.
Who
gambled all of his money away and his family hates him.
We got money for refugees, but we don't have money for our veterans. And I usually kind of tell those people, hey, knock that off, because you're not caring about veterans any other time, only when the government spends money on something you don't agree with.
It's like for those people that only go to church for Easter.
Right. Knock that shit off.
I get upset too. It's like, it's funny because I haven't seen you post anything about the vets before, but suddenly...
Exactly.
I'm surprised that people aren't complaining, like, why are we keeping all these Mexicans in these jails? Because, those could house homeless vets, okay?
Yeah, a jail cell. That's what they deserve.
That's what they deserve. But I agree, because I see so many people who never push for better VA care. Like, what was it, about 8 years ago or so, there was a big to-do about the VA. Like, people waiting and dying before they got care and things like that.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting, because your experience has been different with the VA. You haven't not that you've been on the death door or anything, but you seem to get good care.
No, I go through the Ann Arbor healthcare system, which is pretty new, top-notch hospital. But when I just go to the doctor, I go to Toledo. They call it a community-based outpatient clinic.
Yes.
Which is, even that is almost as big as a mid-sized hospital. It's pretty large. But, no, so there was one location somewhere in the Southwest. I want to say Tucson.
I want to say Arizona as well.
Somewhere.
Arkansas, maybe?
No, I think it was in the, like Southwest. But they were mandated to see people within a certain amount of time, and they were fudging their numbers. And people actually did die as a result of that, waiting for care.
Yes, they did.
It was an isolated location. And just like all hospitals, there's going to be incidents where people fuck up. I probably should have asked you if we can swear on this podcast before we started.
You sure the fuck can, buddy.
Okay, because I've dropped a few F-bombs.
Yeah,
but anyway,
we don't really have many standards.
So what we did then is Congress got involved, to try to make things better, which they never do. So
the 2-0 Congress.
This is where Congress got a foothold in the door to start to privatize the VA. I don't either. It's a very bad idea. A lot of people don't know the VA has actually won international awards for the care and the efficient way that they deliver it with the amount of money that they're given. It is a very good organization. It is an excellent model of socialized medicine, and I really don't want Congress fucking with it.
Well, now that you have co-pays and stuff, that's really fucked up.
Exactly. Well, now, because they're trying to privatize some things, if you need to see a doctor for like a specialty doctor and you can't get in 30 days or less, they give you the option of picking out a local doctor that you can go to and get seen right away. This is costing more money. That money's got to come from somewhere, and unfortunately it's coming out of veterans' pockets right now.
What do you think that Congress could do? What do you see as a problem with the vets that are coming back from Iraq and like our more current vets? Not so much ones that served 20 years ago, but ones that served from like the last 10, 15 years on, with the care that they get and the PTSD that we're hearing about. I mean, you hear a lot of stories about where they just go crazy one day. Like, I don't know if you saw the movie. This might offend people because I have the Sniper.
American Sniper
Yes.
with Bradley Cooper.
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Yes, Bradley Cooper. Let's talk about him.
Well, this just took a turn.
He wrote a book, and there was a movie made off the book, and there's been some about how honest he was and all that, but he was at a shooting range with 2 other vets, and he was helping them through their PTSD, and one of them shot him and killed him. He had like a flashback or whatever, and that's how he died. I'm just wondering what the VA does as far as mental. Have you ever had them talk to you about mental issue? I mean, even though you didn't see combat or anything, has there been any kind of... Do you see that, like, when you're in the hospital? What's the age group of people that you see there when you go in?
Usually, like, if when I go to Toledo, which I said is just like your normal doctor visit,
right.
It's a lot of elderly. You're seeing less World War II vets and more Vietnam and Korea right now. A few younger people, but these are just your normal appointments. Now, if you have to go to Ann Arbor,
yes, which is probably where they house people.
That's where, if you have a mental issue and you need inpatient stay, that's where you're going to go, things like that. When you go to Ann Arbor, you see a lot of younger people missing limbs, and it
really
breaks your heart. I know the VA, as far as mental health goes, like, they're really trying. They definitely need more money. Every time any patient goes to any VA facility, you get triage just like you do when you go to the doctor's office and take your vitals and stuff like that. And then the nurse will ask you a list of questions. Do you feel like you're in danger at home? Just things like that. They want to get a feel for, is life going okay for you, basically.
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of war movies and things lately, and I've just been thinking a lot about PTSD and how much it affects. Excuse me, I'm not getting choked up. I just smoked too much. Seeing how it really does affect people and the things that they see. I just watched a couple of things about I believe it's the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. I saw some interviews with some of the guys that were there and how it affected them. And I actually watched this huge, I don't know if you saw it on Netflix, but it's like a 13-hour miniseries by Ken Burns. And it's all about the Vietnam War. And literally every episode is like an hour and a half long, and it only spans 6 months of the Vietnam War, from like 64 all the way up to 74. I mean, it's you know what I mean? But an hour and a half on it. And they meticulously, and they interview vets and, people who served early on and people who were there at the end, and it's eye-opening because a lot of the wars that we think about as like World War II, we focus on a lot. But Vietnam was fucked up too. I mean, it was a really fucked up war. So I was just thinking about that, and I thought, you always see VA patients, so how many of them run around crazy? Iraq had to have been pretty fucked up too. I mean, we don't know a whole lot. We hear stories, but in 20 years we'll be getting, when vets are finally ready to talk about it. Because it's just now that Vietnam vets are open about, and it was the same environment for them to come home to. A lot of people didn't like this war. A lot of people didn't like the Vietnam War. So
I think when you're at war and killing people, you probably have to separate yourself from that,
right.
Put up a wall, and you can't let your emotions get to you. And I think the problem these guys are having is when they come home, if that wall comes down at all, there's an issue there.
Well, then they have to deal with it while they're still trying to be normal,
right.
and live a normal, air quotes, normal life. I always like to announce my air quotes because nobody can see them, and apparently you can't get it in your tone.
I mean, just one issue I saw this year that kind of denotes the symptoms we're seeing from people is I saw a few signs on my street alone, like, please don't light off fireworks around here.
Yes, I did see that.
There's a veteran here.
Yeah.
don't do that because it scares the shit out of them.
Yeah, I actually saw 2 or 3 of those signs myself. This is the first year I've seen that, though. I don't remember seeing that before, So stop. Okay, first of all, stop going on about the vets if you don't care about them 364 other days out of the year.
Right.
And using them as just kind of like, but what about the children? You don't even have children, Bill. Shut up. You hate kids. I saw you trip one at the roller rink, okay? So, tell me, Shawn, what are your predictions for the elections this year? Who do you have your eye on for the midterms? Senators, even ones that aren't Ohio senators. I mean, who are your favorite picks this year that you've been admiring in the news? Do you like Bernie Sanders?
Yes. Yes, I like Bernie Sanders.
I just wanted to say that he did the little Indian nod with his head.
I do like Bernie Sanders. I like a lot of his ideas. I don't think Bernie Sanders is electable as a president. I don't. Just too far to the left. What I do like seeing is, have you heard of Beto O'Rourke in Texas? He's running against Ted Cruz.
Oh.
And
instead
of trying to be centrist and take a picture with an automatic rifle or something like a lot of Democrats would do to try to win over people on the right, Beto O'Rourke is going to the left.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working for him right now. They're kind of, I think it was like the latest polls put Ted Cruz at 42 and Beto O'Rourke at like 38. So,
oh, wow. He's making a gain.
Yes, definitely. It will be the first Democratic senator elected from Texas in like 4 years or something like that.
Quite a long time. They've been red for a minute. Everything's bigger in Texas. Even the assholes.
Yes. Ted Cruz is an asshole.
He is. He looks like an alien. And I just feel like at any minute he's going to be like...
Cuban guy born in Canada waving an American flag.
Right. Get these illegals out of here. Nobody should be allowed to come to this country.
In Ohio, I will definitely be voting for Richard Cordray.
Yeah.
He was deputy director of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau under Elizabeth Warren.
You know how many overdraft fees I've gotten refunded because of those people? I'm not even joking. Because Chase Bank, they're a bunch of assholes, and I'll tell you what, they've tried to catch me a couple times because they'll try and process my debits before my credits in the wrong order on different days, just so that they can catch me. Well, that was back when I was poorer. Now I have a small savings, so I don't have to worry. Yeah, and they'd get me with $78 in overdraft fees for a $13 automatic debit charge from Netflix, fuckers. And I would complain. I would submit a complaint to them, and they would get them refunded.
Really?
Yep, I did that twice. I think 2 years in a row that I caught them, doing that just so that they could get overdraft fees out of me. And I complained and I sent screenshots. Not everything, like you can't get just overdrafts. It's not like, woohoo, we'll get them all taken care of. I mean, if you're abusive with your bank account, they're not going to help you. But
who do you bank with?
Well, I don't bank with them anymore. My boyfriend banks with Chase. JP Morgan Chase.
See, I bank with a smaller bank. They only have like 3 branches. It's called Citizens.
So do I.
It was actually Netflix. I had an overdraft, and when I looked at my account, like I rushed down to the bank, like, please don't charge me $40 or anything.
Right.
Here's money to bring it up. And they're like, oh no, if it's under $25, we don't charge you anything.
I think it's under 10 for Chase or 5, one of the two. But Netflix is like 13. I pay for the 5-screen account,
Oh,
so
you do?
We fancy up in here, and so it's like $13.99, and several times, it's been like a Thursday or something, and I forgot about it because it's automatic. And I'll look at my bank account, and I'll see that they've processed that, and I would have got paid the day before. Netflix came the day after. They processed Netflix. They say Netflix billed on the 14th, but I got paid on the 13th. When they order it, I would catch them reordering my transactions. Like, I would take a screenshot of my bank account at, say, 12:30 in the morning at night. And then they do their transactions around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I would take another picture at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and they would be reordered. So that my debit, you know what I mean? Just so that they could charge me overdraft fees. The way that, and that's how I would get my overdraft. I caught them twice. And so I used to stay up every payday just to see if they'd try it. Like, and I'd watch my bank account on my computer screen. And I used to do it with my phone, too. You could screenshot your bank account. You know how you can take screenshots on your phone? Well, I know you probably struggle with it. I know you
definitely.
But they actually disabled it. You can't take a screenshot of your bank balance anymore. Like your phone, on your phone, if you have your bank account. They were like,
no, you're not taking a picture of your own account.
Nope, not anymore. Nope.
You can pay $7.99 a month to have a paper billing sent to you.
Yeah, right, but I think they disabled that though, because that's how I was catching them reordering my deposits. It was taking a screenshot, so they disabled that function, so I can't anymore. But you can still do it on the computer for anybody that feels thwarted out there. Okay, so see, we did some Space Force, some VA, talked about banking, something else about yourself. Are you a cat lover or a dog lover?
I am a dog lover.
Tell us about your dogs.
My boyfriend and I have 5 dogs.
5 dogs?
5 dogs. We, at one point in time, we had 10.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a dog problem.
When we moved in together, I had an unfixed male and he had an unfixed female. And when the female went into heat, I'm like, well, just keep them apart. It'll be fine. Like, I'd never been in that situation before. And 3 months later, we had a bunch of puppies.
Yeah, how many did you have? 5?
Yeah, and I found very good homes for most of them, except for 2. Technically, I'm still trying to find homes, or supposed to be trying to find homes for the last 2, but it's been 5 years, and they're my babies now, Tim. They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere, so...
But yeah, and I was actually very picky about who was getting my puppies. Like, I do home visits and stuff. There was one girl that wanted puppies. I told her there weren't any more available. A few days later at work, I was talking to someone else about a puppy I still had, and she was like, oh, you still have a puppy? I want it. And I had to go, Amber, you don't take care of your kids. I'm not giving you a puppy.
Right. You can't even take care of a baby.
Right.
And a dog is less than, man. They are your babies.
Yes,
Mongo is probably the dumbest. And I don't mean that. I'm sorry. He's special
needs dog.
He did get some oxygen in the birth canal there for a couple seconds, and it shows.
Yeah, I actually had to help deliver when Cece was the mom's name. She's no longer with us, but when she was giving birth, Mongo was the first one out, and we even gave her like an episiotomy at home because this big ass dog wouldn't come out of her, and I had to reach in and pull his head out, and I think there might have been slight brain damage or something. And now his head is smaller than his neck because of that, so he has to wear a harness because it'll come right out of the collar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never noticed that he had a small head.
Yeah, so we're hoping there's going to be a doggy Special Olympics at some point.
Like, he'd be so good at it because he's like strong and fast.
Yes, he definitely is.
And but he's so goofy and sweet.
Yeah,
he is a big goofy dumb dog. And but he's not my favorite. Remy is my favorite. So he's a ginger like me. So
yes, he is.
We're bonded by our fiery natures.
Definitely. When I bring Remy over to Julie's house, he just runs right in and jumps up on her bed, makes himself at home.
He's a happy dog. Shawn had a dog that has been gone for a couple years now. His name is Maverick, and I miss him more and more as the years go on. And he was so old for so long.
Yes.
He lived to 16, wasn't it?
18,
18
years old.
And the last 2 or 3 years that he was alive, he was truly an old man. He was bumping into stuff, blind. And we lived together, and I'd have my door shut, and Maverick would not care. He would just bump into my door, thump, until I would open my door, and then he'd get up on the bed, but he could not get up on a bed by himself, so you had to help him. So he would knock on my door until I answered, and then be like, and I'm going to need a boot. And he would sleep with me, and he was just the sweetest dog, slow as could be, but that dog, if you took your eyes off him for a second, he'd be 4 yards down in an alley over.
Yes.
How
did he get there so quick?
Anytime you had your eyes on him, he moved 2 steps at a time, and it took him forever to go pee. But as soon as you looked away and looked back, you'd be like, where'd Maverick go? That dog would be halfway down the fucking block. What the fuck? How did you? And you never actually saw him move that fast, though.
Right.
But he did. It's like he suddenly, if he knew eyes were on him, he was back to doo-doo. dude, just down here smelling. And he walked to the left towards it. He always had to put him back in the center.
Right.
He leaned to the left when he walked.
In Findlay, the dog warden actually makes home visits, just randomly knocks on people's doors to see if they have unlicensed pets.
Oh, wow. They got
that.
a dog Gestapo?
They do. Papers, please. So the dog warden and her assistant, they're both really nice ladies, came to our house, and the puppies were only like 3 months old. So we've got all these dogs running around, and they're all unlicensed, right? So she's given us the paperwork, like, how many you have? And Maverick, at this point in time, was sleeping like 21 hours out of the day. So we're like, 9. And, she's writing up the paperwork. I'm talking to the dog warden's assistant, and all of a sudden I hear the dog warden go, "And who's this old guy?" And there was Maverick just wagging his big old tail, tongue hanging out,
butt.
Smiling, like, "Who we got here? Visitors? No one told me. You should have woke me up." So I'm like, yeah, we actually had 10.
I was hoping he wouldn't wake up, but
Right.
nap a bit longer, we'll
So
say.
thanks, Maverick. That's an extra $40.
Well, he liked to run off when he was younger. You were always bailing him out of doggy jail. Oh, he was a
We
stinker.
did. I lived in suburban Detroit, and I was on a first name basis with the dog warden there. Like, Maverick just loved him. He'd jump right into his arms.
He was so used to seeing him. He was his best friend.
Yeah,
Oh, that dog got to go everywhere.
he did. He was a traveling pup.
Yeah, but he's always smelling stuff, so. Yes, I will dedicate 15 minutes of my podcast to talking about dogs. I don't care. That's just who I am. My dog, because I always talk about my dog, like, sorry, my dog's scratching himself back here. It's all fine. But we're just a bunch of animal lovers. Miles has got a couple dogs, too. And one time her cat was on the wall. She was like, I don't understand what the cat is doing behind me. So they're part of the podcast, usually.
Right.
Eli was barking a little bit when we first got started, but now he's like, oh shit, she's talking in her podcast voice. I have to be quiet. He knows a little bit. So what else should we talk about?
Let's talk about healthcare. I talked about how the VA was an excellent example of socialized medicine. Anyway, how does everyone feel about Medicare for all?
I like the idea. My favorite president used to be John F. Kennedy, and I found as I got older, my favorite president is FDR. You know why? Because of the Second Bill of Rights.
Yes.
That is something that I totally agree with, and I think that people should have a right to health care. To me, it's a humanity.
Well, we're the only industrialized nation in the world that doesn't have it. We look at other countries and see that it works. It actually saves them money. Why the hell aren't we doing it here? And there's only one answer that you can ultimately come to, and it's money in the 1%'s pocket.
Yeah.
That's why.
I just read some headlines the other day, and it was talking about how many GoFundMe and crowdfunding campaigns there are out there to help people pay their hospital bills, like for terminal illnesses or really serious illnesses.
Right.
Because of the costs of, and I can't tell you how many stories of people who are just, their lives are completely ruined by a serious illness. Like they go bankrupt, they sell their cars, their house, everything is they lose their jobs because they're sick. I mean, they lose everything all over.
I know a local woman in Findlay. She's in her 60s. She's still waiting tables, and she has bone spurs on her heels. And this woman walks around in pain every day, still does an excellent job at what she does. She could have surgery and have those removed and be in a lot better shape, but she can't afford it. Even though she has insurance, she pays for insurance. They deduct it out of her paycheck every week. She cannot afford to use her insurance to get that taken care of because it's so much out of pocket.
Yes. It's just a fancy discount program is what it is.
And she walks around and she does it, but you can tell she's in pain. And I just feel terrible for her. This is awful. It's a simple procedure, in and out. She'd be done in like a half an hour. We could have her taken care of, but she can't afford it.
And part of the working force, which we're always complaining that people don't work, and we got to take care of them.
Right, just looking for a handout. Well, this woman
would work, but eventually those bone spurs are going to cause her to not be able to work at all. They're just going to, where she could keep on for until she was, I don't know.
It's just terrible. An illness shouldn't put you in the poorhouse.
No. You shouldn't have to sell your livelihood or lose your livelihood just to pay for medical bills in this country, especially when it's supposed to be, and I call it the great lie, is this is the greatest nation in the world. And I don't think that that's true as far as healthcare, education, just about anything anymore. I don't want to say, I always feel like I come off as I don't like my country. It's not that I don't like my country. I love my country, and I love what it was founded on, and the Constitution, and I love the idea of what our country is supposed to be, but that's not what our country is. It's perverted it, and it's polluted it, and it makes me very unhappy with the way things are right now in our country. I don't know, it's just too much hate and division, and there's so many things that we can do to progress and be really awesome, and we don't. And it's stupid. We need to move forward, people.
We do, but unfortunately a third of our country has control of everything, so we're not going to.
Yeah. As I say, we don't learn from our history. But if you look through history, this happens time and time again, where the rich rise up, and they rise up, and they rise up, and they rise up so far that the poor get angry, and they take down the rich, and then it starts over again.
Well, I mean, and not just in our country, it's all throughout history, all over the
That's
globe.
what I mean, is through, I mean, like, that, hundreds and thousands of years ago that's happened, where
you just get too greedy and take a little bit too much, and the people will rise up.
Yeah, and that happens time and time again, and I think that'll be our spring, and I'm seeing it, people all here have voted for Trump, and I'm seeing that when I hear people talk and conversate around the bar, their attitudes are changing because it's affecting them personally, finally. I wait on a lot of farmers, and they're all making jokes about getting a subsidy, and I'm like, oh, it's okay for you to take welfare, but not anybody else. If you're anti-welfare, you should be anti-welfare across the board. If farming ain't making you enough money, go get a second job, buddy.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not saying I don't appreciate farmers or what they do and what's happening. That's not fair, but how is that? Exactly. Nobody else gets a subsidy. I'm not getting one because I don't make enough.
Right.
Our country, those tariffs and everything, that's not.
Trying to have your cake and eat it too is what they're doing, and I work in a farming community and kind of hear the same things. But yeah, if you're gonna bitch about other people and their SNAP cards or anything like that, then
when times are rough for you, then you go out and get another job. Right. You just don't want to work.
Just wait, those same people are gonna have to start paying more for beer.
Yeah, then they're even gonna be even more angrier. Hops is a crop.
Right.
I don't know. I actually talked to he's a Vietnam vet the other day, and he was telling me that he doesn't understand homelessness. He was like, I don't understand how people can be homeless. How does that happen? And I was like, well, there's all kinds of reasons. We were talking about out in LA where they have a huge homeless population. It was Skid Row, and he was sitting with a friend of his, and I was they couldn't tell, but I was being sarcastic, He was complaining that his wife works at a local factory 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was like, it's probably all those lazy people that don't want to work. I was like, if they would just go get jobs where she works, then she'd probably be on 8 hours, 40 hours a week. He was like, exactly. He's like, it's all these people who don't want to fucking work, so the people who do work, they gotta work all this overtime because of the people who don't. And, I mean, I was just joking, but...
there's so many ways that doesn't make sense.
But he was like, exactly. Can you put this on Fox News? You know what I mean? Give me another Budweiser. I need more ice. How many people drank Bud Light with ice around here? It is. I'd like a Bud Light and a glass of ice, please.
Yeah, I have a couple regulars myself that do that.
And I'm just like, you want some...
Well, I mean, it's shitty beer, so you got to drink it ice cold.
I wonder. I'm like, is that what it is? Is it's just it only tastes good if it is as cold as you can get it, just under freezing, and it's delicious.
I mean, think about it. How good does lukewarm room temperature milk taste?
Yeah,
it's gross.
Yeah. Put some ice in that bitch though, and it's all right. I've never understood, and that's the first time in all of my years of bartending or serving drinks of any kind that somebody has ordered a beer at all with ice, let alone. I mean, when hard cider became a thing, I noticed that people would order it on ice, and I kind of got that, I guess, but beer on ice, I don't...
Can't do it.
Drink it like a man or a woman, whatever I don't know. Drink it like an adult. Out of the can. Oh, well. Some people are just weird.
I have a regular guest that she drinks gin and Diet Coke, and I throw up a little bit every time I make one of those.
Gross. Gin and Diet Coke, huh?
I don't know. People just have weird preferences.
They do. I have people who order all types of weird drinks, and I'm like, okay, here you go. I just recently waited on some. It was a crew, and they were interesting because they were from all over. Like, there was a guy from Illinois, a guy from Pennsylvania. There were pipeliners.
Pipeliners, yeah.
Yeah, we had pipeliners like
we
crazy.
We get those in a lot, too.
And so they're from all over, and they all come in together, and they haven't known each other that long. So, but they all get along really well, and I had a really great group of them, and they were hilarious. They really made me giggle, but I had a guy that drank Bud Light in a glass, and he would ask me for a can of tomato juice, because we have V8 or whatever in the can, tomato juice in the can. And he would pour the tomato juice in
there's actually a
beer.
Mexican word for that. It's called a michelada.
A michelada.
It's a Bloody Mary with a beer dumped in it.
Everybody, that is the word for today. I want you to try and use it.
Michelada.
I could really go for a michelada.
My boss drinks those all the time. And first of all, I don't care for tomato juice
We should have had your boss on. That would have been fun.
Right. But if you dump a beer in the tomato juice, I'm especially not going to drink it.
I was like, okay, here you go. Like, it's totally normal.
I wonder where he was from, if it was somewhere in the Southwest.
It was, actually. Yes, he was from the South. Yeah. I want to say Texas, actually.
That's funny because that's a Mexican thing to do.
Yeah.
So, hola, buddy.
Hola. ¿Qué pasa?
I just triggered all the Trumpers out there. Speak English!
They don't listen to our podcast because we don't like Trump on this podcast.
We should just put speakers on the top of the car and drive around here blaring it all day when we're done.
There is a large percentage of people who have Confederate flags here in Upper Sandusky. I actually kind of wanted to do a photo tour because there is a certain type of folk that proudly display the Confederate flag in their window, yard, whatever. And their yard is usually decorated with other things like washing machines, engines,
Funny thing, when I was in the Navy, and probably anybody who's traveled internationally will say the same thing. Anywhere you go, virtually anywhere in the world, if you need help, if you need directions, if you don't understand their increments of money, it's very easy to find somebody who speaks English and is more than actually happy to help you out. And what do we do here? Get out! Speak English!
You need to speak that English.
And that just astounds me. Help them. If they don't speak English, like, hey, buddy, you need help?
People like ranting, like, you need to speak English in this country. Like, who fucking... No, I don't. I'm just here on a visit. Especially, like, people who are on a visit. Could you imagine getting screamed at being over in France?
Right.
Speak French, allez-vous.
No, they don't do that. They'll speak English at you and help you with what you need.
I read that the English language is actually becoming the most well-known language and, like, the most universal, just because so many people, and for years I read that it was going to be Mandarin, Chinese, that would become the most well-known language.
Well, I think because there's so many of them, but we're the wealthiest nation in the world, so people have to learn English
to do business over here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's why they're seeing that. Coincidentally, it's not all honest people that will help you out if you don't speak their language. When I was in Brazil, I'm pretty sure I paid $100 for a value meal. Their system of money is so crazy there. At the time, I mean, this was 25 years ago, but it was like 1,000 cruzados equaled 100,000 cruceros or something like that. Like, it was just really strange. So I went into McDonald's and I didn't understand how much I was paying, and the cashier was more than willing to help me out.
Yeah.
And I walked out and I'm counting my money like, I'm pretty sure I just paid $100 for a Big Mac.
Did you convert your money back and ever figure it out?
I
mean, I know you spent a lot on coke and strippers, but
exactly.
I mean, that 100 could have been.
I was definitely down quite a bit of money. So
that was the best Big Mac you ever had. Didn't even know it.
Brazil's a crazy place. Anytime you were hitting a new foreign port, you would have a port brief over the ship's TV system, and someone would tell you, like, their increments of money, what language they speak. Also, the AIDS rate among prostitutes. These are statistics that sailors and Marines need to know.
Right.
And then they would tell you, they'd put like a map up on the TV screen in every lounge on the ship. And show you the off-limits areas. So, of course, those would be the first places we would visit.
Why were they off-limits?
Danger.
Like what kind of danger?
Well, the first bar we walked into, there was live sex on the stage.
That's very dangerous.
There's a woman getting banged from behind. And she's got an unlit cigarette in her lips, and she looked over at me and made the international sign for lighter, holding my thumb up in the air and flicking it right now. So I lit a woman's cigarette. She looked completely bored.
You know what? And that's just what I love about humanity. I really do. That is the best story ever. I believe that's one of the only stories you've not told me before. I've heard almost all of them.
That was crazy. There were like 4 Marines that were together in an off-limits area, and they got robbed and beaten by a gang of transvestites, which was really funny. They never lived that down. Also, women going topless.
Really?
In other nations. Like, it's no big deal. Like, just boobs everywhere. So, straight guys out there.
If you want to see some titties for free, you just got to go abroad. Is that why so many...
Find any beach in any other country and you will see titties.
Odd men and women, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty, of course. No, they don't wear bikini. Men don't wear bikini tops in other countries.
No, but they wear bikini bottoms, girl.
Oh, Lord. That's the only reason I want to... You know, I've always talked about the book I want to write, Hand Jobs Across America.
I'll have to take you to the Eggplant Festival in Rio someday.
You know, that would be a wonderful time. I did a little episode, Ode to Basketball Shorts, because I love basketball shorts. I love summer, you know, I don't really care. That was the nice thing about living in Finley, is they have a university there, and they have a state college there, but they don't have any kind of grounds for them to work out on. But in Finley, the football and all the athletes are always like running the sidewalks.
Their cross country team jogs down my street every day about 3 p.m. in case anybody wants to sit out on my porch with me.
I'm like, oh Lord, and that's all it is all summer long, is just well-toned basketball short wearing, tan, little bit glistening from the sweat, you know, on all their glory. I mean, I just slow-mo across my front leg. Oh my God.
Speaking my language.
I have almost wrecked, you know, going down Main Street, because the university is on Main Street. Like, get right past George House and you're like, oh shit, here comes the cross-country team. Look at that one. His shorts are too tight. Oh. Sweet, sweet buns. Sweet. Yeah. There's not much. There's a lot of farmers here.
Farmers are hot.
They are hot, but they're not the ones around here. Most of them are older, you know, in their 60s and 70s. So they're, I don't know. I mean, they were probably hot 30 years ago, but I'm not really seeing a younger farmer population. And if I suppose they're all out there working, maybe. I don't know.
What do you know about the Manafort trial? Shouldn't that be wrapping up pretty soon here? Pretty interested to see what comes out of that.
I don't see. Hold on here. I haven't looked up headlines. I actually just looked up the Space Force. Trump, here's the headline from Los Angeles Times. Trump backed Space Force after months of lobbying by officials with ties to aerospace. Oh yeah?
Oh, so Space Force is a money grab. Awesome.
Oh, well, that doesn't sound like anything we'd do around here. That doesn't sound like anything that we would never do something for money. Oh, the jury begins its 3rd day of deliberations. So the jury's already ready to decide his fate. How many days, I wonder? 5. I'm going to guess 5. I bet they have 2 more days of deliberations, and then they'll be like, guilty. How long do you think before Trump will have to testify to Mueller?
It doesn't look like Giuliani's going to let him.
No.
Because the truth isn't the truth, I guess.
Oh, he does a terrible job.
Yeah, Giuliani, you're just old and crazy, man.
He just makes it worse every time he gets on TV. I mean, it's just like a circus anymore.
Yeah, it is.
With politics. There's so much crazy news that it's hard to keep up with the amount of crazy news that there is. Do you know what
It is. I'm a little embarrassed, a little ashamed of what's going on in our politics in this country right now. A little scared.
Well,
but
because
also,
it's so brazen.
You know, when I'm watching news or reading headlines, I've got the like a circus theme song in my.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, it's almost too much. If you read the news every day, it's like, are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, over and over and over and over again every day since Trump, even like a year before he even became president. You know, it's just a daily barrage of outrageous news. We always like to say, stay vigilant and stay informed, people, and elections are coming. So I am surprised at the amount of progressives and Democrats, and a lot of people are, there's an uptick in the fake news and Russian meddling and things like that, they say.
Right.
People trying to get, you're seeing a lot of fake, I don't know, what do we call them, memes or whatever, or how come this is okay, like you're talking about with the vets, but,
right.
Things like that where they're trying to sway, I'm seeing that in my timeline now a lot, and people are trying to sway people either way. And it's like, here we go again. It's just like the election, where people were like, well, I read this online, I read that online, and there is a wave of progressives coming through the country, and there's people who are leaning more that way. And I think a lot of the American population, they're just so tired of it. Like, we just want to move forward, and I think enough things have affected people personally and on a personal level that they can't just hear something and parrot it back at it. It's affecting them, and they actually have to put thought into it and why things need to change, especially with the opiate crisis. A lot of people have lost family members, friends, or know people who have lost, to the point where it's humanizing the epidemic now. Like, people can put a face on it, or they've seen it personally touch it. So now they're not just like, I don't care if somebody overdoses. I mean, there's still quite a few people out there like that.
Are.
But it's starting to become more and more where, somebody dies every day that you knew of a friend, or your friend's cousin's aunt. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I remember I met her once, 10 years ago. Oh, I knew her. You didn't really know her, but at that level, I mean, where it's getting that close to people's personal lives, where you're only 3 or 4 connections out of knowing somebody that has died of an overdose, or overdosed and survived, or any other kind of nasty little crisis addiction that's come about in this lovely country of ours.
Right.
So. But anyways, that fills up about our hour of the variety hour.
Wow, that went by rather fast.
It does. It tends to just kind of chug along. Conversation doesn't take long here. We're in a time vacuum. Did you want to talk about anything else? Because we can. I mean, we still have some time.
Let's go back to Space Force.
Oh, back to Space Force.
I guess now, to try to convince us we need a Space Force, I read a news article the other day that our military satellites are in danger from Russia and China and Iran. But I don't think we need a Space Force for that, out there flying around shooting projectiles or pew-pew guns or anything. I think our satellites are in danger because there's a 12-year-old kid with a laptop in Kiev doing it from the ground. I don't think anyone's flying around up there trying to shoot out our satellites. Well, I think this is like a cyber war, and we need a U.S. cyber command.
Yes,
not a Space Force.
Uniforms will be just as cool.
Yes,
and if like to sell it, we have to offer them like a trip around the moon every year, like. All of you get to take a trip around the moon once a year.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
Wouldn't you sign up for Cyberforce then?
Absolutely.
I get to wear a jumpsuit and shoot around the moon once a year. I'm in.
I hear it's made of green cheese.
And some of the government insurance. Give it to me. I mean, you'd have people lined up all day. I know how to use a computer. Click, click, boom, boom. Look, guys, we're online. Welcome. You've got mail. I don't want to get trademarked. But trademark violation. That was AOL that you just impersonated and didn't credit us. I personally, have you ever seen a picture of what the Earth actually looks like right now? Like, with all the satellite and space junk that actually surrounds our Earth.
Yes,
I mean, we don't want a spaceship out there anyways. There's no way to pilot. All of our satellites are cluttered by 5 other dead satellites. It's fine, everybody. You can't even navigate a ship through that mess. Right. You can do like a one-man little vessel, like,
Trying to drive a semi through a junkyard.
Like a Jetsons. We'd have to go Jetson style out there. Just like a little saucer. That's all there would, that would all, pew, 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 That's the smallest, yes. To get around all the satellites, we would have to Jetson. It would come true.
Pew, pew. I think the Marines have hoorah.
Hoorah!
Space Force has pew, pew.
Pew, pew. Don't fuck with us. Lasers. They're going to have laser guns. Space Force has to have a laser gun. And I love their...
Actually, in space, I don't think you could just throw a rock and completely obliterate the other person's spaceship.
You really could.
You don't really need lasers.
We're going to have a military parade to celebrate our Space Force. Those are the pressing concerns of our president right now. This is older news, but North Korea and the whole peace agreement and the summit, and Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Here's the thing is the reason why Kim Un-jung, I always say it.
Kim Jong-un.
Thank you. See, I always have to have somebody correct me. I always have to have a corrector around. He agreed to denuclearization. Did that drive you nuts the way I said that?
No.
Okay, because usually you're like, that's not how you say it, Julie.
No, it drives me nuts when people say nuclear.
I know, that's why I was like, did I get that? Did I nail that right? And he agreed so that South Korea would have to be disarmed as well. And when he realized that no, they were just saying he couldn't have nuclear weapons, that's when he was like, oh no, I don't agree to that.
This is like the third time he's agreed to denuclearization and then hasn't come through on that. It's been going on since the 90s.
Yeah,
this is his trick.
They do
well,
that.
His father's
they
trick
like
too.
They like attention. They really do.
Right.
They have a lot of military parades. That's why a military parade in America just makes me cringe.
That's how despots are.
I don't want a military. I'm just like, that is so, it's so tacky too. I mean, does England have a military parade?
I think they have formal things, like where they march a few bands and regiments in past the Queen's grandstand on her birthday or something.
No, but I mean, like walking a missile down Main Street. That's what I mean.
I don't think they...
with flags and blow up bombs and stuff.
Trump
floats.
keeps referencing France's military parade for their Bastille Day that he went to last year. Did you notice that their military band played Daft Punk in front of the grid? We're up all night to get lucky. I thought that was hysterical.
The Bastille Day. Bastille. Yes, that's to commemorate something. That's not just for showboating, and that's all a military parade is for us.
It's Bastille Day to them is like 4th of July for us.
Right, it's not something that we do. We've never done military parades. I mean,
no,
not like that.
Not full blown on a national scale. I think we did after World War II when
the vets came. We celebrated them it was them being rolled down the Main Street and waving and marching, and
I think we actually did one in 1991, maybe after the first Gulf War. I think there was some kind of national parade, but
that's upsetting.
That was a war. We rolled in. It was a national coalition. We kicked his ass, and then we came home.
Yeah. We got things done. I believe it was all due to your box lunches, Shawn. Because shit has been off wire since,
right.
I
better get back over there.
That's a really weird coincidence now that you mention it, Those box lunches, they had protein.
I'm gonna need one tanker full of peanut butter and another separate tanker full of jelly.
I fed those boys right, and they got the job done.
And Lay's potato chips, you better get busy on them little bags.
Little itty bitty bags.
Right.
That's too funny. That was a little bit about... You know what? That was great having a vet on because we got a great perspective from somebody who has served. Some interesting stories. A glimpse into how the VA works and the kind of care that Shawn gets. He gets... You're just saying that you're on a new blood pressure medication. They're taking care of you. They're taking care of you.
Yeah, they are.
They're going to keep you alive. Actually. They might need you. They might need you box lunches.
Trying to get things in line before I have to have open heart surgery.
Yeah. Well, they might need to. They know about your box lunches. That's what it is. Everybody else complains about the weight, but for some reason they're like, For some people, we make exceptions to keep them healthy because we might need their services again. You're a valued member of society, Shawn, and you don't even know it.
Well, thank you.
You know, you can carve a cucumber. Can't you carve it into a dolphin, or used to be able to, or you can make animals out of fruit.
A banana into a dolphin, a cucumber into a lobster. Yeah, lots of little stuff like that.
Because you're a nerd.
I am.
But he's a really great cook. I get invited to cookouts and dinners quite often. And it's kind of like going out to eat, you know. I will be right there for taco day.
Our taco bar is
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It fills the whole kitchen island, and the meat's over on the stove.
Yeah. All the trimmings.
Yes, all the trimmings are on the island, and it is. It's so varied that you have to make choices. Like, oh my God, I want some of that too, but there's no room. and I can't eat 2 plates anymore. That's not right.
I can.
I'm getting older, and it's harder to shake them pounds off. It's so wonderful to be young. You can eat whatever you want, and it just melts off. But the older you get, you got to be like,
right.
I actually gotta have to work. Like sometimes my arm gives out. It just goes. I think it's just atrophied.
I get winded folding laundry.
I know. My arms kind of start to burn a little bit. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can pull the legs out of these jeans. I'm actually not joking. I really need to work out, everybody. So,
right.
I'm gonna try that keto diet or keto diet. I think it's like the Atkins diet, but I think it's supposed to be like a little bit healthier because the Atkins diet was basically just bacon.
Right. Yeah, well, Dr. Atkins died of a heart attack because you can't eat steak and cheesecake every day.
But the keto diet is like you can only have 30 or 50 grams. I think it's 50 grams of carbohydrates a day. And I've been gaining weight. I can't figure it out. And at work, we have the most delicious cashews you'll ever experience in your life.
I love cashews.
This guy makes them locally, and they are amazing. I love them to no end. And I eat a cup of them every day when I'm at work. And I can't figure out, like, why am I getting so fat? Like, what is going on? Because I haven't done anything different in the last year. Well, I was reading about this keto diet, and it had a diagram of nuts. And it said, it had, I don't know, 8 or 9 different kinds of nuts. But cashews are, for like a handful of 20 of them, it's like 26, 27 grams of carbohydrates. So if I can only have 50 grams of carbohydrates in a day, a handful of cashews is more than half of my daily allowed carbohydrates.
Well, just eat 2 handfuls and be done.
I know, right? That's all I'm eating today. Leave me alone. I mean, they're addictive. I order a baggie, like a sandwich baggie of them, and they're gone in 2 days. Like, I can't even, and I'm like, I don't want to eat another cashew, and I'll still eat them. Like at work, I'll get there and I'm like, oh God, I just ate so many cashews. And then I'll just look at them in that little warmer, like, I could just have one.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
Nope. Pretty soon, I'm like 2 handfuls deep. And we got cheese and beef sticks there, too. Oh, my God.
Oh, how do you do it?
I don't. That's why I'm like, my butt's kind of big. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. I think that concludes our hour of variety chit-chat talk.
I think so.
I think we kind of touched on everything, made some great jokes, learned a little bit about Shawn. Everyday citizen just living his life out there.
That's right.
Profiles of courage. He's got the courage, y'all. Let's see here. Don't forget to visit our website, our Twitter. We're on just about every platform you could possibly want to stream our show on. MilesandCrawford.com. Miles is active on Twitter. I think she actually just got she got a warning because she called Tommy, what is her name?
Tommy Laren.
Yeah, she called her white trash on Twitter, and so Miles got a warning about hate speech or something. Like somebody reported her for hate speech, so she got a little message in her. Or I don't know. But we had a hearty laugh over that all day. I think it was Friday. Like, oh my goodness, really? White trash is hate speech. So
really, I didn't know that.
I'm gonna have to tailor my insults.
I kind of am white trash. I'm uppity white trash,
right?
But still.
I'm like high level white trash.
Right.
You can't touch this. Ba-da-da-da. This is my kitty Lily. See, I always bring in the pets.
Lily.
Lily is 8 now. Shawn's very familiar with Lily. She used to ride his shoulders. That's why he's looking at her like, is that fucking
Lily? She did
Lily?
it a few times when I wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yeah, that's what. It was funny because when she walked up, I noticed she kept looking at her and watching her like.
And I was looking at you.
Yeah, like what you gonna do, Lily? She's just. You might even be able to hear her if you listen quietly. Lily. Yeah, see, yeah, that's her bumping the mic. Everybody, you're welcome. Anyways, everybody, thanks for tuning in and listening. As always, I appreciate it. And Miles will be back next month, and we're going to do some interviews with some other podcasters. It'll be season 3.
Season 3.
Thanks for coming on the show, Shawn.
Thanks for having me.
And giving us your opinion about how awesome you are. I mean, giving us your opinion. You're awesome.
Thank you very much. You're awesome, too.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.